Hello, dear grade 6 students. Today, inshallah, we are going to study a new lesson. We're going to learn about 3.1 Understand and Represent Exponents. The learning intention of today's lesson is to write and evaluate numbers with exponents. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the exponent, the base, and the power. Number two, we're going to evaluate numbers and expressions with exponents. That includes sometimes, in most of the questions, we also need to compare expressions with exponents. And number three, we're going to apply this knowledge, inshallah, to solve word problems. The vocab words that you guys should focus on: exponent, base, power, repeated multiplication, and expression. So let's start with our first example. This lesson is divided into two parts. Part one, where we evaluate numbers with exponents, and part two, where we evaluate expressions with exponents. So here we have this expression, 2 times 2 times 2. Instead of writing it as you can see, 2 times 2 times 2, that represents repeated multiplication. Because sometimes you will have more than 3 twos. You could be having 100 twos. So it's kind of difficult to keep on writing 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 until 100. So we have a shortcut for that. We're going to be using exponents. So we will write it as an exponent. So instead of writing it as 2 times 2 times 2, we're going to write it as 2. We're going to put the base. As you can see, the number that is being multiplied by itself and it's being repeated, that's 2. So 2 will be our base. Okay? And now how many times I multiply 2 by itself, that will be my exponent. We're going to put it on top. So I multiply 2 by itself 3 times. Okay? So this is how we say it. 2 to the power of 3. Okay? Or the third power of 2. Or 2 cubed. Later on we use it a lot in when finding the volume and 2 squared area, but that's not the point here. Okay, so instead again of writing the expression as repeated multiplication, we have a shortcut. We write it using exponents. So we're gonna say 2 to the power of 3, or the third power of 2, where 2 is my base and the exponent on top. The exponent tells me how many times the base is being multiplied by itself. Now, if you want to evaluate this exponential form, how you're going to do that? Basically, the number that is being multiplied by itself, 2, because it's at the base, it's down. So I can look at the exponent. The exponent will tell me how many times I need to multiply 2 by itself. That will be 3 times. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 2 times 2. And now I will evaluate. Evaluate, guys, means finding the value. Okay, so 2 times 2 equals 4. And 4 times 2, that will be 8. So the value of this exponential form is 8. Okay, the value of the expression is 8. Okay, so this is the meaning of an exponent. And I forgot to tell you one thing, that both together, base and exponent, they both together make, for me, we call them a power. Okay, so both together they make a power. So the base, we call it the base is the number that is multiplied by itself. The exponent is how many times you multiply the base by itself, and the power is both base and exponent together. Okay, so let's move on to more examples. This is the answer. You have to focus on the word evaluate. When they tell you to evaluate, it means they want a value. They want an answer for this question. Okay, so you need to give me a number at the end of the question. Okay, so again, focusing on the idea, exponents are basically they are used to represent repeated multiplication. Okay, because like we said, sometimes you guys will have more than 3/8. You will have maybe 58. So you're gonna keep writing 8 times 8 times 8 50 times. That's so difficult. And instead we just say 8 to the power of 50. Okay, this is how you guys write it as an exponent. 8 is the base, 3 is the exponent, and here it tells me that 8 is multiplied by itself 3 times. Then you do your math. Now let's move on. Part 2. Now part 2 of the lesson, it's about evaluating expressions. Okay? It's about evaluating expressions. You have a decimal multiplied with a power of 10. So we have here a word problem about Julia. She calculated the foil as 1.9 times 10 to the power of 5 units thick, and Tom calculated the foil as this much. Your job, which calculation represents the greater thickness? Okay, you want to see which one of those numbers has a greater thickness. So this number is obviously ready. It's written in standard form. I can tell the number is clear. But this one, it's not clear. I need to write it in a way it looks like 183,000. Okay, I need to write it with zeros. So let's go to this number and try to break it down. Okay, so 1.9 times 10 to the power of 5. We all know, guys, that 10 to the power of 5, it's the same as what? 10 to the power of 5, it's the same as 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. It's 10 multiplied by itself 5 times, okay? That means it's the same as 1.9 times 1 times 1 times 1 times, that will be 1. I'm just going to copy paste the zeros. I got 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I put more. Okay. So guys, 10 to the power of 5, it's the same as 100,000. Okay. And now you studied in grade 5 how to multiply a decimal with, actually, this lesson is not new for you guys. You studied in grade 5 how to multiply a decimal by a power of 10 or by multiples of 10. Now, when you multiply by a multiple of 10, we all know that this decimal point must move to the right direction. It goes to the right. The decimal point goes to the right according to how many zeros you have. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means my decimal point will move to the right 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my answer will be 1. I'm going to bring it down. 9. And then here, as you can see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 empty places. You're going to fill them with 4 zeros, a placeholder. And that's it. That's your answer. Okay, then we're going to put the comma. So here, the decimal point, if you want to put it. But if you don't, it's okay. Because here it's, useless. It has no value. Because my number turned into a whole number. It's no longer a decimal and a whole. It's only a whole number, so no need to place the decimal point. Okay? So that is, you guys, your answer, 190,000. And now, the second part of the question is you guys need to compare it. So Julia got 190,000 while Tom got 183,000. So we can compare which one has a greater thickness. That means Julia has a greater thickness because 190,000 is way greater than 183,000. Okay, guys? So that's the idea of multiplying a decimal with a power of 10. Instead of doing, 10 times 10 times 10, just look at the exponent. I'm going to teach you a shortcut. If your exponent is 5, that means you just need to move the point 5 steps to the right, and you're done. And the empty places, you fill them with zeros, a placeholder, okay? Now, let's move on. Okay. So this is how she solved the question. Number 1, you have to evaluate the expression, and then you will have to compare number 2. Evaluate and then compare both of the numbers. Okay? And this table here is to help you that 10 to the power of 1 means 10. The exponent, tells you how many times 10 is being multiplied by itself. In other words, 1 means how many 10s you guys should have. You should have 1 10. 2, you should have 2 10s. 3, you should have 3 10s. 4, you should have 4 10s. And so on. Okay, let's move on to the book questions. Number 1, you don't need to solve this question. They're asking you just to write the exponent. That's it. They're asking you just to write the exponent. Okay, the exponent, remember, this is a base. The number that's down, it's the base. And the number that's up, it's the exponent. Base, exponent. So here, as you can see, let's write it as a power. As you can see, the base is 9 to the power. How many? So how many 9s do I have here? I have 4 9s, so my exponent will be 4. So here, the exponent is 4. This is how you guys solve it. Okay, they're not asking you again to evaluate it. They're just telling you what's the exponent. Your exponent will be 4. As for this question, the same idea we're going to do. It's the base is 1/6 to the power of how many 1/6? 1/6 do you see, guys? You see 3, so the exponent will be 3. So here in this case, our exponent is 3, okay? Because you see 3 of them, you see 4 of them, and so on. Okay, let's move on to the second part where they want you to evaluate. Here, evaluate means you guys should find. Okay, find. This is not writing. Okay. Find the value. We want an answer from you. So let's do it. 1/6 to the power of 2. That means 1/6 times 1/6. So let's multiply. 1 times 1, that's 1. And 6 times 6, that's 36. That is your answer. Okay, how do you multiply fractions? You multiply top times top over bottom times bottom, and you're done. Now, let's go here. 0.1 to the power of 5. That means you have 0.1 times 0.1. So that means you should multiply 0.1 by itself 5 times. Okay, guys? So I wrote it 5 times. So usually, how do you multiply decimals? You multiply decimals, you multiply them. Number 1, remove the point, ignore it. Just multiply the whole numbers. Multiply like you multiply whole numbers. So we're going to multiply what whole number you guys see. It's 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. We all know 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. That will be what? That will be equal to 1. And now, what do you do after? After, you put the point back. Okay, number 1, you ignore the point. Number 2, you multiply like you multiply whole numbers. Number 3, you have to put the point back. Okay, so how am I going to put the point back? By counting the decimal places. As you can see here, I have 1 decimal place, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to move backward, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then put the point. So you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and here a 0. So your answer will be 0.1. That's a tenth, hundredth, thousand, 10,000s. Yeah, 100,000s with the, with the decimals part. Okay? So, you guys, this is how you multiply decimals. Okay? Just try to focus on whole numbers when you study. Okay? So, let's move on. Now, let's move on to the next question. 45 to the power of 0. Now, you should know in math, any number to the power of 0, without thinking about it, this is a basic fact in math. Any number to the power of 0 is the value of it is always 1. That's your answer, just 1. Okay? Again, any number, whether it was a decimal, a whole number, a fraction, whatever you want, as long as the power is 0, that means the answer will be equal to 1. Okay. Let's move on to question number 8. Okay, number 8 here, they're asking you to write it as a power. A power means they want from you a base and an exponent. You guys, we can tell that the base is very clear. What number is being multiplied by itself? It's 0.75. Okay, and what's the exponent? How many times? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 0.75 to the power of 5. That's your power. Second, question number 9, we're going to do the same thing. What is a 3/8 times a 3/8 times 3/8 written as a power, the same thing. Your base is 3/8. And how many of them do you have? How many 3/8 do you see? We see 3. It's better to put it in parentheses like that, so you don't think the 3 is only for the 3. 3 is actually for both, for 3 and for 8, for the whole fraction. Okay? And here the same thing. It's better to put it between parentheses. If you wish to. If you not, you can write it clearly, then that's okay. Okay, guys? So this is how you write it as a power. Power means we want base and exponent. Please, it's an easy question. Don't get it wrong in exam. Now here, let's evaluate like I taught you. When you multiply a decimal by a power of 10, the easy way, the tricky way, the shortcut, just look at the exponent. What's your exponent? 4. So you're going to have to move the point to the right 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. I'm going to just copy paste the numbers. I got 4, 5. So I moved it 1 step. I still have 3 empty places. So I'm going to place them with placeholder. That's the 0. And I'm done. So my answer is 45 thousandths. Same idea here I'm going to do. My exponent is 3. So that means I should move the point to the right 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. So my answer will be 6212. 2 zeros. It's going to be 6,200. Okay, like I said, you can put the point or you guys can remove it. No need for it. Because your number is now a whole number. Okay, so I hope it's clear. Again, when you multiply a decimal by a power of 10, just look at the exponent and move the decimal point to the right according to the exponent. Okay, let's evaluate this question. Now, word problems about the same topic. So here you have a word problem. So basically what they're asking on this word problem is just evaluate this expression. So 3.27 times 10 to the power of 2. All you have to do is just move the point. Look at the exponent, it's 2. So you're going to move it 2 places. So your answer will be 327. That's it. You're done. Okay. The same thing here. Look, when you see word problem, don't get scared. It's just when you read it, you're going to see that the answer is just, it's easy. It's not that difficult. Again, the same idea. You have a word problem with this expression that you guys need to evaluate in order to get the square miles of the land of Alaska. So all you have to do is just, again, move the point. Look at the exponent. It's 5. So you're going to move the point 5 steps to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that means 5, 7. So when you have 5 places, it means one spot will go for 7. And that means that 4 other spots, you're going to fill them with 4 zeros. And that's it. Okay, think of it this way. You got 5 places, 1 for 7, 4. I'm going to fill them with zeros. So the answer will be 500, and you're going to put the comma here. How you guys know? Because remember, you studied in grade 5. Each period, they have 3 digits. 1 stands hundreds, and then 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. So you count 1, 2, 3, comma. Then 1, 2, 3, comma. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so your answer will be 570,000 miles. Yeah, and that's it. Okay, I think these are the last 2 word problems that we're going to talk about. Now this real life application here, it's a word problem about Zach. He invested 50. Okay, he invested 50 and he tripled it. You guys, he tripled it. So what does that mean? Triple. You guys need to understand the keywords in math. Triple means same as double. Okay, it's not the same, but they're both related. Double means times 2, so triple will mean times 3. So it's the same as 50 times 3. That is for Zach. He tripled his money, so now he has 5 times 3, 15, and the 0 copy paste. So now he has $150. But look at But look at Kayla. Kayla also invested $50, and after 2 years, the amount was equal 50 to the third power. So you guys can tell that she became rich. So 50 to the third power. Okay, let's remove the parentheses. That means 50 to the power of 3, the third power of 3, or 50 exponent 3. That means she doesn't have 150. She has 50 times 50 times 50. So how are you going to multiply? How you are going to multiply such a number? You're going to multiply the basic fact, which is 5 times 5 times 5. So 5 times 5, guys, that's 25 times 5, that's 125. And then you're just going to count the zeros and copy paste them. You have 1, 2, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. So obviously Kayla is very rich. She has now 125,000 $125,000. So who had more money? Kayla. Okay, Kayla had more money. So this is how you solve such a question if it comes in the quiz or exam. You need to evaluate each first. You need to evaluate the value of each expression, and then you guys compare which one has more. Kayla had more money. Excuse my handwriting. It's kind of difficult to write with the pen. So let's move on to this question. We have here Christine was asked to write each of the numbers in the expression. Okay, that's the expression that she's talking about. They asked her to write it using exponents. Her response was 8 times 10 to the power of 3 and 5 to the power of 2. Was Christine's response correct? What do you think, guys? Obviously, look at the 80,000. It has how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4. But she wrote it as 10 to the power of 3. So that's her mistake. She should write it as 8 times 10 to the power of 4. Okay? Because she has 4 zeros, not 3 zeros. So that her response, Christine's response, was incorrect because she wrote the wrong exponent. Okay, guys? So that's it for this lesson, how to understand and represent exponents. So see you when I see you.